Hello, welcome Alex to Call a Death Doula. And the reason I'm having this project is just to find out the variety of death doulas that are out there. There's so many. So I'm excited to hear about your flavor of it and what brought you to it and just your story.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having this. It's a really sweet, like, kind of getting to think about such things too. Not that any like way of getting into death work is conventional by any means.
Right.
But
Right.
my story is kind of I moved to Portland in 2020 and wanted to volunteer, have something to do during the pandemic that was also COVID conscious because I'm immunocompromised. So I looked up volunteer Portland, and the first thing that came up was Legacy Hospice. So I was 19 at the time in 2020, and I was like, sure, I've never thought about that. I've never thought about being with people who are dying. I've never, but I had done some like a little bit of like care kind of type like volunteering, just with, and also not even volunteering, just with mostly with family. So I
Right.
was like, well, I've been around people. Maybe and I had no experience with. I never seen a dead body. I'd never seen somebody who was actively dying. So I went and I went for an interview, and the volunteer coordinator, to this day, she's a very dear person to me. Um, I was like, well, what's the training like? And she's like, oh, there's no training. Like, or, well, we're going to tell you what to do as far as like caring for people's bodies, but there's no, like, you be with people. Um, and she asked me about like my experience with grief, and I hadn't really talked about it before, so it was interesting to have someone just ask me, okay, how do you deal with grief, or how do you what's your relationship. When I was young, I had some significant deaths of friends, so I kind of had this interesting relationship with death where I was like I was still building it up for myself and what it meant, the dying process, but it was very different. So I started that work, and it's interesting. I'm still with them to this day, but I'm pretty separate. So that like I'm pretty separate from like the legacy system. I work directly with my volunteer coordinator, who's amazing. I basically go into homes. I get a little recap of what's going on with the patient and the family a little bit, and then I just meet with them and I ask them like, what do you want this to look like? How can we they are being seen by a doctor, but I'm the emotional support, and I care for their bodies as well, and I talk to them about what do they want, what do they want their death to look like, what do they want their end of life kind of, yeah, space to be, and how can I help with that. And I'm still there, which is kind of, yeah, I'm still there because of just how much my coordinator too, she's like, give them whatever they want, like anything they want. And it's been really beautiful to kind of just be with people. I've mixed drinks for people, and I just had to call the nurse and be like, how much alcohol can I give them to where they don't die right now, but where they like enough where they're gonna get a buzz. And they're like, okay, I've and that kind of, I've take people who are early on in their time in hospice. They're like, I want to go to this specific park and watch these specific birds. And I'm like, okay, Lori, they want to go to the park. Okay, go for it. So yeah, and just really, I've done pediatric patients
Hmm.
as well, and it's in its own really every time is different and really it feels like requires my presence. And that's where I didn't call myself a death doula until I joined this collective, this group actually,
Yeah.
because it's different. I'm not a certified death doula, but I'm doing this death work with people and supporting their families. And they were like, "Oh, you're a death doula. Yes, you're doing that work." I sit vigil as well, so I'll get calls to be with people the entire process. I see people in facilities who are on OHP, which is something that I have enjoyed doing, kind of seeing people wherever they're at, and it's been really different just depending on the person. I
Yeah.
hope that
Wow.
was an okay answer. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's great. And OHP, that's state insurance. So people who can't really afford anyone to come and be with them.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, yeah, that is so great. And it's this it is so helpful to have the certification, absolutely. But back in the day, family were the death doulas. And so it's so great that when people are called just to be with people as they're dying, whether it's their family member or not, they are functioning as a death doula. So it's really just companioning people and being in the present, right? Being present so they can be in the present, I think. Wow, that is so great. So how would you say, so has that affected other parts of your life? Do you work in it? Is that a volunteer position that you do?
It is a volunteer position.
Okay.
By day, I work as a group facilitator. I've worked in mental health since 2020, so that was like the year after I started working in the hospice work. That following year, I was working in food service, and then I worked at a facility with women who had recently been incarcerated, Volunteers of America. So I was working with them, and I was kind of just talking to people and doing yeah, just talking to people and kind of like doing a little bit of random childcare and like random things when they had kids and stuff. And I was like, man, I want to work with people. Like I don't think I want to work in a kitchen like forever.
Yeah.
And I'd gotten sober more recently, and I was like, this I don't think though this is a great environment for me. So I kind of made that switch in 2021 and started working in direct service mental health care with teenage adolescents who are
Wow.
yeah. So I'm still doing that, and now I'm a group facilitator. So I lead groups with people.
Oh, that's great. I love doing that too. Are you enjoying it? Do you like leading groups of people?
It was very, I have social anxiety, so it was very like scary in the beginning, but now it's much better. I've kind of
Yeah.
gotten used to it. I like it now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's so interesting. I think that being with people of any age, and especially people, I mean, you suffer a lot of loss when you struggle with mental illness in lots of ways. How do you think your immersion in death, in the world of death, kind of supports you being able to support these people in their crises? Do you see any the way you hold people as they're dying and the way you hold a group? Do you see a difference in that, or you know what I mean?
hmm that's such a great question. I get to think about.
That's
Yes.
fun.
Also, like, yeah, just being with people who have who are. I mean, and I do as well. Struggle with like mental health, or just mental balance, or
Right.
whatever it is. And oftentimes we see people who are suicidal or have a connection to death in that way, where they don't wish to be alive in this current reality that they're experiencing. So I do find that like exploring that relationship to death can be present for people that are struggling with suicidality. It's kind of somehow connected to the death work too, because when I'm with people who are dying, um, they express like either concern, fear, contentment, like this all of the spectrum of emotions and how they feel about death. And I think just so there's some connection there, and also just like the presence, like what you were saying, like the presence and just being present with people is really important in a group setting, and I find that that's really important in death work too. So
Hmm.
yeah, definitely, yeah, and just being with people and kind of asking them like, what do you want out of like
Hmm.
what are you want? Yes, you're in treatment or you're in crisis, but what are like how can we make this life more livable for you? And then in death work, it's like how can we make this death the best that it can be for you?
Yeah. Are
So I do
people
think
so
autonomy
yeah, are people surprised that you ask them that question? Do you think?
in group
In either
facilitating.
cases, but in the death work, it's like I've found that some people are surprised that they get to choose. They have all the ideas what their family wants, or they should do that, or and to really hit home, it's like, well, no, it's your life until your last breath. It's your life until your death. And so many people are not used to choosing themselves, I guess. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I think that like giving that it also just really diffuses a lot of like in the mental health side diffuses a lot of stress and like activation when you ask someone, oh hey, like what's going on? Okay, what do you want? Like what are you exactly, like asking that question and being willing to listen to what they're
Right.
wanting or what they think. Especially with adolescents where they don't have much of a choice over their life circumstances. They don't have, I mean, their parent, like they don't have a lot of control over anything,
Right.
over money, the food they're eating, where they live, where they, so by giving them some choice and just even asking and letting them like think about it and like dream about it, um, definitely, yeah, and death as well, or death work as well for sure. When people like the family has very strong opinions
Yeah.
or they have very strong, yeah, and then asking the person is, yeah, definitely
Yeah.
that plays a role as well.
Yeah, and that diffuses the fear just because when we feel forced into something, we're not relaxed. And so as people are dying, feeling forced in a certain way, it's hard to relax for sure. Ah, so tell me more, what else about being a death doula has been personally changing in your life? Has it changed you as a person?
Yes. Yes, very. It's like the one thing that has changed me the most as a person, I would say. When I tell my Lori, my coordinator, who's also just like a very close person to me in
Sure.
my life, like we kind of had similar backgrounds too, where like my mom's a farmer, as a gardener and a farmer, very like low income growing up, and she's also comes from a farm background, so we kind of just like talk about like life and just how the things it really puts things into perspective. When I see people at the end of life, what they're giving me a lot of knowledge as well that I really take with me.
Yeah.
Like if people want to talk about it, I'm like, yeah, like what would you tell the world? What would you tell someone? Like what's really important in life? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is precious, precious knowledge, precious wisdom that I just, and at 19 is a little like, also gonna say like, not that there's a conventional way to get into to care work or death work, but I was definitely I was on the young side for getting into
Yeah.
death work. When I
Sure.
showed up, I'm like, yeah, I'm a teenager and I'm here to like, but that work in families exists at any age. So
Good.
it's didn't feel like it was, too like out of place, but just in the death work world. So getting that knowledge from a young age has been really helpful for my development as a person,
Hmm.
I think. And just that like getting to hear what's really important to people has been really helpful.
Yeah, getting the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from these people who have lived all these years, and even no matter where they're at, even if they're having a very hard death, um,
Hmm.
I just always find it so interesting just to see how people do it and just see what they've learned. Um, yeah, I've gained so much being a death doula from the people that I've worked with and the mistakes I've made too. When I'm like, I won't do that again. But I've learned a lot, and everyone's always been very gracious in that way.
Hmm.
What would you say feels most meaningful to you in your work as a death doula?
Hmm. I think just connection, no matter what. I really enjoy working with folks who have dementia or Alzheimer dementia in particular, where I know people like struggle and it can be very it seems like it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And also I worked with a woman who she had dementia and she was just very sweet and liked to say the same stories, tell the same stories, and like to have dialogue. And there wasn't a lot of like the words didn't come together in sentences, But she would just kind of like go off on these tangents, kind of say this thing and this thing, and being able to just respond and be like, oh, whoa, tell me more about that. Like, oh, and like that's crazy. I mean, I could tell that she was getting excited. I'm like, that's crazy. I can't believe like this person did that or like whatever.
Right.
She had a grudge against this particular woman who later I asked, and she's like, oh yeah, that's the woman that her ex-husband had left her for, and
Oh,
she was still. And so I'm like, oh man, I can't believe that. And she like almost in these moments would like look me in the eyes and be like, you get it, or like maybe it wasn't that, maybe I'm reading too far into it, but just
right.
being with people no matter where they're at end of life has been yeah, I think is most important.
Yeah, because they're seen. You are seeing them and you're willing to listen to their version of their story without
Mm.
arguing or saying that didn't happen. And yeah, they just want someone to go along with the story with the emotion, to just know they still matter because they're still alive. They're not dead yet. Um, that's what I find that oftentimes when someone gets very old or maybe they get cancer and they start being affected by it, even family and friends, it's like they think they've changed into some other creature or something, like they're not the same person. And it's like, well, no, they're still in there being like, hey guys, I'm not done yet. So just seeing people for what they're expressing at the time, I think is such a gift. Again, it's the presence, it's just being there. A lot of people, I mean, death, I think, is fearful because it seems like it's a lonely endeavor. So to be there for them, that's a great part for me too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And just like the death, what I take away, I guess the most, I was thinking about that when I was just saying that, like, just having, not being scared of death, not, it's such a gift to not, like, the way that I grew up and also my own experience with being suicidal as a teenager and like losing friends. And I had this relationship with death at such a young age that death work allowed me to process and instead build a relationship with death through just being around people who are dying and not shying away from it has really just changed the relationship that I have with death in such an important way. And now it's like, I not to be I'm like I feel like sometimes I'm kind of that weird person at parties or that weird person in social
Okay.
situations who's like, oh yeah, yeah, death, okay. Um, but that's such a gift to through death work is just
Yeah.
building a different relationship um
Right.
with my own.
Yeah. And it's not like us death doulas have it all figured out or that we, have our whole lives figured out. It's just that for some reason we were called to this and we are willing to hold the scary space of death for other people. We're willing to be the brave, and be like, I can handle this. You guys can totally fall apart. Do what you need to do. I can handle this. Yeah, it is fun to get together with other death workers because we love to talk about death. So we we talk about things that other people are like, stop that. So it's nice to be around people where we can get excited about when people die really well and things like that. I like that a lot.
Mm.
Hmm. So what else? Is there anything else you would like to share about anything?
Um, yeah, I guess to echo off that, like I in no way, shape, or form feel like I have anything like figured out. Especially in life. Like I have no like there's no but just that it's yeah, it is such a gift to kind of sit with the uncertainty of death, with people and kind of build that relationship more. Which is yeah I guess that yeah that death work is just such a part of communities and is a part of that everyone is going to be a death worker at some point if you get to live long enough to have you get to live long enough you'll have people who are close to you die, and so everyone is going to be doing death work at some point, and yeah, just that's such a community place,
Mhm.
or position to kind of step into or step out of. And yeah, death work has been such a yeah, keep saying that such a gift for my life, and
Mhm.
that yeah.
Yeah. I love how you say that we'll all be death workers eventually, because yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
And we don't know when we'll die, and we don't know when our friends and family will die. And so being able to, I mean, I'm just all about normalizing talking about it because people die when they're young and we're shocked and we're like, what? And just to know that life moves through, and helping people understand that just because that someone's dead doesn't mean they're not still with you. And that's I enjoy dispelling the fear of death. That's a fun thing for me with people. Yeah.
Mm.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this. I really appreciate it. And
Thank you for having the space and it was really nice to talk about this today. So thank you.
yeah, and
Thank you.
Alan,
Thank you so
I look
much.
forward to that. Okay, well, thank you. Peace be with you, and I'll see you around.
You too.
Okay, bye.